Hello there and welcome to part 1, section 1 of Sketchup and V-Ray tutorial series. In this section, I will be covering basic modeling techniques and shortcuts whilst creating this beautiful kitchen. So if you follow along the entire video, you should be able to create an interior scene all by yourself. And also, if you find my content useful, then please do like, subscribe and share my videos in order to keep me motivated. Thank you. So, in order to start up Sketchup, you'll need to double click on the Sketchup icon and select the units of measurement you're comfortable with from the pop-up menu over here. So I'm quite comfortable with millimeters. I'm just going to be creating a new model, so I'm just going to select architecture millimeters. So now that you have SketchUp opened up, this part is your 3D viewport where you'll be spending most of your time modeling and rendering. So on the right hand side you've got the default tray where all your modeling information will be stored and other informations too. The component information, then you've got styles over here, then you've got tags, shadows and scenes, and of course the materials tab over here. And on top you've got the toolbars. So the toolbar has a lot of items on it. Don't bother yourself about it now, because you'll be learning through shortcuts. The reason I've got the toolbar opened up over here is in case if you forget about the shortcuts or anything, you can actually find those items over here. So a few basic shapes will be lines, rectangles, circles and things like that. But before I start modeling, I'm just going to pull up the shortcuts that we're going to use in order to model the kitchen that I was talking about. So this is the kitchen we're going to model, and in order to do that, before that, I'm just going to pull up the shortcut list that we're going to need to model this kitchen. So these are the shortcuts, simple shortcuts that you will use in order to model any interior scene. These come in very handy and can save you a lot of time. So yeah, either you take it down, or I'm just going to put this in the description below so you can just download the PDF directly. So in order to create the kitchen, I'm going to first click on R. R is rectangle. So the moment you click on R, you can see there's a rectangle moving with the pencil on my cursor. So you can be close to this is a 0 point, so you can be somewhere close. So left click once and extend, and the moment you extend, you can see that down here you can see the measurements. So if you go upwards, you see that's the length that's incrementing, and then there's the thickness, that's the width. So you can actually type in values, whatever values you like, in the box here. So you move up to a certain thing and type in. So I'm just going to type in 25. Mine is going to be 2500, comma 5000. There you go. So now you have a infilled rectangle which you can work with. By the way, I just forgot to mention that in order to rotate your viewport, you will have to click on your middle mouse and drag it. Middle mouse, hold and drag it, so you'll be able to rotate through your screen. And while rotating, if you hold on shift and if you click on middle mouse, it basically pans. So you can use pan the way you like it, and then if you leave shift, you'll be able to rotate it. And then in order to come out of any command, you can just directly click on space bar, and it just goes back to the select cursor. So now that we have a rectangle ready, there's another thing you should be keeping in mind, that this color of the surface is actually the back side of the surface. The white is the front side. So in order to reverse the faces, what you do is click on the surface, right click and reverse face. So now that you have the white portion, this is the front portion of your model. It's a very good habit to always have in any software, the right side, the right face of your model. Now that we have that, we're gonna get into modeling. So how are you gonna create the walls? There are many ways you can create walls. You can click on L and create lines, and then, like for example, 200 millimeters, and then from here again over here, then again 200 millimeters from here, and you can again snap it over here. This is quite tedious, isn't it? So I'm just gonna go with a different method, and that is, if you click on F is basically offset. So if you click on F, you'll be able to offset. So the moment you click on F and click inside the face, you'll be able to you get this offset feature straight away. And and if you look down over here, you again get the offset value that you can type in. So I'm just going to select 200 millimeter thick walls. So that's 200 and enter. So basically now you have your walls ready. Sorry about that. So now we have to extrude the walls. So in order to extrude the walls, you'll have to click on P. Click on P, and you can directly, if you just click on the surface, you can directly extrude that particular surface. And if you click on Control whilst extruding, you can basically create a copy extrusion. Copy extrusions come in very handy whilst modeling, especially any kind of scene, actually, not necessarily interior scenes, but any kind of scenes that can help you create copies of many faces, basically. So I can lift up till here, then maybe go by mistake until here. Oh, I forgot to create another face, I need the face down here. You can come down with a copy extrude and create, so you'll create different faces basically. So it comes in handy depending on the situation, actually. So for now, I'm just going to copy extrude up to 2500 millimeters. So now we have our walls ready. So now that we have our walls ready, we can start modeling the interior bits, the kitchen, the modular kitchen itself. But there's one thing I'd like to share before I get into the kitchen modeling, is that you do not need to necessarily model the entire thing properly as in the realistic world, because remember, keep this in mind, that you're working towards a realistic picture. So in order to attain a realistic look, you have to sometimes bend the rules and not just waste time modeling what's behind the camera. So if you look at the picture, it's looking towards the modular kitchen, so it's looking head on towards the modular kitchen, but you've got some light coming in from a window behind, which we can replicate, which I'll come to later on. But this is your main thing. See, you need to create this perfectly and not be very perfect with your other parts of the model. I'm not saying that it's a good habit, but it's a thing that can save you time and can actually help you achieve realistic renders in short periods of time. So that's why I just wanted to share that with you. So in order to create that, because my kitchen's going to be facing this way, so I'm just going to delete a portion of these walls. So in order to do that, I'm just going to create a random, you can go from the center. So this is a center, snap, create a line there, and then create a line on Z axis. So you have to follow the Z axis, don't just draw random lines like that. So the blue is Z axis, you click on that, it'll snap. Green is, I believe, Y axis, and the red is X axis. Just remember them as red, green and blue. Blue is upwards, Z axis is upwards. It's alright. So now after you've done that, click on R. We're going to create another rectangle and click on this. So now you have a face inside ready. So this is one method, and the Control Z is basically going back. And another method that you can use is here. If you click on that, then you create a line here. Now that is ready, you click on P and you can back extrude, and you can snap it there. And then you can delete this wall over here. And in order to erase something, you click on E. So that erases the lines basically. So after you've done that with that wall, I'm just going to extrude this wall as well, a little over here. Yeah, this looks pretty good. And the floor, we're going to leave it as it is. So now you're going to start modeling the interior bits, the modular kitchen, the columns and everything else. So in order to create the column, just like I mentioned earlier, you click on R, you create another rectangle of say 450 by sorry, so this is going to be 600 600 I believe. Yeah, let's take the measurements though first. So yeah, in order to measure in SketchUp is T. So if you measure that, that's 1500, 600 and 600. So now that we have a column ready, we can just extrude that, control extrude to this height. So now you have your column ready. The better practice is creating groups in SketchUp. So it's better that if you create groups, it's much easier to work with. So if I just click on Control Z, and if you double click on a particular surface which is covered already, it actually selects the entire surface completely, and it's very good practice to actually maintain groups or components in SketchUp. So I'm just going to right click on it, so make group, and the group is created basically. And in order to access a group, you basically have to double click and it enters the group, and nothing else gets worked on while you're working inside a group. Unless you come out of it, nothing gets hampered, your model stays the way it is. So now I'm just going to extrude over here, control extrude, and extrude it right on top of here. Click on spacebar and escape to come out of it. Okay, so now that we have a column ready, we're good to go with the other parts of the model. So again, another rectangle, so that rectangle goes up there, follow along that line. So if SketchUp has the ability to snap actually, so it's 600 by, it's going to be 600 by 600 again actually, 600 by 600. So you have another model, and we're going to create another rectangle which is going to be 600 comma 400 this time. Because if you look at the picture that you've got over here, there's a smaller cabinet there, so I'm just assuming that to be 400 for now. I'm not going to create the rest of the stuff because we're just going to copy the things from the whatever we create in this part over here. I'm just going to copy that and paste it over here. So I'll just show you that in a minute. So in order to create this cabinet here, we have to do a few extrusions and intrusions and a few offsets in order to create that. It's quite easy actually modeling these things, these type of things in SketchUp. So let's just get into it. So first you're going to click on P, then Control Extrude. You're going to click 100. So you have your first face, which is this bottom part over here, and then I have to include what's the height? It's going to be say 600. Yeah, let's just go with 700. Yeah, that's height I'm going to go with. And then click on Control, so you have another face, a copy extrusion. Then I'm going to give it a 50 mil gap, and again a copy extrusion, 40 millimeters top slab. So you have your basic model structure ready. So now we can start working on the other things. So in order to create an extrusion, if you click on Control Extrusion, you can do that, but it's going out of the column. So what you can do is, it's better to intrude now. Since this is your final measurement, you don't need Control Copy over here. You just need to just intrude. In order to intrude, is the same option, P, and you push it backwards by 50 mil. Yeah, that sounds good. And then this too by 50 mil. So what did I do over here is that basically, actually 50 mil looks quite a bit to me actually, to be honest. Does it? No, it's alright. You can go with that. If something looks odd to you, you can always adjust it by pulling or pushing this. So yeah, so now that we have that, and the way there's another option actually. Once you extrude or intrude something, it actually remembers the value. So if you just double click on something, it'll actually assign that value again. See, whilst in extrusion, if I, for example, extrude this that much, and if you just double click on that, and actually extrudes the exact amount there. So yeah, lost again. There you go. So now you can extrude that there. Then, in order to create the covered look, you can control extrude backwards, basically intrude. That's going to be 25 mil. So now that we know it's 25 mil, we can bring that there, bring that there, and create a gap of about 3 millimeters, so 22 mil. So now that you have a gap, you can P again, bring that down, and see you have a gap now. So that should look like a cover now. And if you have to, you can even, you don't even have, because I created a group here, it's not snapping over here anymore, it's a separate body, so I can easily work on my model over here even without there you go. You can work on that. I can just take that, I'm just gonna reduce that by 20 mil. Actually 25 mil, 5 more, and then create a line of 20 millimeters, straight line down there. E for erase that. P, extrude that over here and attach that to this top slab. Yeah. So you have your, you can make that a group if required. So now when you select the entire thing gets selected. So if you ever created a group here and work inside it, it's going to be a much better option actually. See, now that you have a problem, so when you select the entire thing, the entire walls and everything gets selected, but if you have a group, it does not get selected basically. So that's the advantage of using groups. So there are a few mistakes that I made, and we need to actually address that and fix it. The first thing is the measurement. It's actually a bit off. It cannot be, so the entire measurement is, I've taken it as 2500 millimeters. Well, after creating the column and the first modular bit, I found that the entire thing will not fit in here. So I pull out the calculator, and so we're gonna have 600, 400, another 600, and then a final another 600 width. So that comes up to around, so 600 plus 400 plus 600 plus another 600, so that's 2.2 meters, and we basically need a clearance of 2.2 meters. So from the column till here it's 1500, and we need 2200, so we basically need to shift the entire wall by 700 mil, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, 500, 600, yeah, 700 mil. So in order to do that, in order to fix the mistake, it's quite easy actually. You click on P and you extrude this by 700, and then again you click on this and you extrude this by 700. There you go. You've got your area, you've got the exact measurement where you're going to have your model, your kitchen, as per the picture over here. So now the second thing that I'd like to address is, whilst modeling, like I showed you before, that it's a very good habit to actually have groups, what I did for the second one, and because of this particular reason, because the moment you start or try selecting a certain component or a group, particular portion of a model, the entire model gets selected, which I do not need. So in order to deselect, so the option to deselect in SketchUp is Control Shift, hold them both down, and you'll see a minus sign on your cursor. So basically, and then just drag and you can deselect stuff. So I'm just going to deselect quickly all of these walls, this one, and this one, and this one too, and the one below here. Yeah, and that's it. I think we are good to go. Yeah. So now that we have this particular thing selected, we can convert this to a group. So make group, right click and make group, and that's it. So these are the two things I wanted to address. I actually did this on purpose in order to be able to explain the function of selection and deselection. So if you hold control, it adds selections, and if you hold shift, it either adds or it rejects or it deducts selections. So basically if I hold shift and I do that, it selects, and in the same area if I do that, it deselects. And when you hold on to control and shift and then you select, everything just gets deselected. All the selected items get deselected. So that's it really. So yes, so you are almost at the end of the first section, and I would like you all to give it a try and model the entire thing, and I'll see you in second section of this part 1 tutorial series, where I'll be going into the details of the modeling bit from slab top, circular modeling. Then I'll introduce you to a few add-ons or extensions which you can use in order to expedite your modeling process. So click on the pop-up video in the middle of the screen, and I'll see you there in second section of part 1 tutorial series. Thank you.